A very good morning, class 12. So let's continue the chapter which we have started from the book Vistas, that is Ivan's Tries an O-Level, written by Colin Dexter. So we have discussed at how for Ivan's the exam was prepared and the preparations were made for the smooth conduct of his exam in the cell only, in the Oxford prison only. So we are on page number 77. Exam was about to start at 9:15. It was already 9:18. So you need to understand the timings now, that when what thing happened here. So at basically at last we have read at how the suitcase, the briefcase of McCleary was checked, right? So there was the dad's semi-inflated ring, paper knife, the church newspaper, the holy book, question papers, the ID card proof, everything was here. So at 9:18, Evans and McCleary, they both sat in front of each other. So at 9:18, Governor heard their conversations, their voices. McCleary, you have got a watch? Yes, sir. Evans, I will be telling you when to start and again when you have 5 minutes left. So McCleary mentioned, and I will tell you when to start the paper, and when 5 minutes left, I will give you that instruction. Till then, you can write. There's plenty more for writing on this. So McCleary mentioned that you need to write few details on your paper. First, you need to write on the paper, that is 0211 code. You know, when you write on the paper, there are certain codes written. Then write down index number 313 and center number 271. So in the top right hand corner, it was mentioned about the index number, and then just below that it was mentioned about the center number also. So you need to write down on your paper first. So 9:20 a.m. There was a silence for 2 minutes, and at 9:20 a.m. Evans mentioned that he was not comfortable in the presence of Stephens. Basically, Evans and McCleary, they both sat in front of each other because invigilator and the examinee was there, or examinee or examiner you can say, and Stephen was just standing near to him to keep an eye on him. So he said that, he mentioned that Stephen, I don't know about that. He said that Stephen mentioned, Mr. Jackson's give me strict instructions too. So Evans mentioned, how am I supposed to concentrate on my exam with someone breathing down my neck? Cry, sorry sir, I didn't mean. So you even can, as you all are student, you know, if you're when you're writing the paper, if somebody is just standing near to you, you feel uncomfortable and you don't, you try to hide your answers or things or your sheets so that nobody can see whether you are writing right or wrong also. Same thing happened. He was not comfortable with that situation. So governor received a phone. On the other side, governor received the phone. Jackson, good. Get Stephens out of that cell, will you? I think we are perhaps overdoing things. So this conversation heard by governor. So governor made a call to Jackson and said, call Stephens out. I guess we are overdoing the things. It's okay. He can give the exam there. As you wish, sir. Governor heard the exchanges, and then finally at 9:25 a.m. there was a great calm, and the exam started at 9:25 a.m. Which was about to start at 9:15. 10 minutes late it started. Around 9:40 a.m., governor received a call from the examination board. So what it said, there was a call, and the assistant secretary with special responsibility for modern languages asked to speak to the governor. Examination had already started, no doubt. Examination started at 9:25 a.m. At 9:40, the call was there. So he mentioned, there was a correction slip which some fool had forgotten to place in the examination package. Very brief, could the governor please? So he said that there is some correction in that paper. So some fool or an idiot basically forgot to keep that correction slip and that stuff. So please, could the governor, so governor can pass on this message to them or not? Yes, of course, I will put you straight through the Mr. Jackson in D wing. Hold the line a minute. So he said, okay, I'm directly connecting you with Mr. Jackson, and you can, because Mr. Jackson was there outside the duty for Evans. So as soon as he had connected the line, was the sort of thing the governor had feared. Was the phone call a fake? Some signal, some secret message. But he could check on that immediately. He dialed the number of the examination board, but heard only the staccato bleeps of a line engaged. But then the line was engaged, wasn't it? Yes, not very intelligent then. 2 minutes later, he heard some whispered communications in the cell, and then McCleary's broad Scots voice. So as soon as he connected the call, he thought immediately, governor thought, might be this is a fake call, might be any message is given, the hidden message which I'm not able to find. What is it? So he tried to call to that examination board, but unfortunately that line was engaged and he was not able to connect. And just in another 2 minutes, he heard that McCleary started giving the instructions to Evans, because that call was connected to Jackson. Jackson has informed to McCleary, so now correction was there. So what correction he mentioned to him? Candidates offering German, so those who had the paper of this 0 to 1, there was few correction. What was the correction? On page 3, line 15, on the fourth word, there was a correction. It's written here. On page 3, line 15, the fourth word should be Golgenen, not Golgeni. And the whole phrase will therefore read, Zum Golgenen Lowen, not Zum Golgenen Luen. I will repeat that. So there was a correction in that. Governor listened and smiled. Governor was listening all these instructions because there was a bug placed, that mic was placed. So why he smiled? Because even he knew few things about German language, so he remembered about that how German language is, and he thought about that this is something called adjective, and he wondered that how Evans would be able to understand, because for Governor it seemed that Evans might be not having any idea about these adjectives, and he even smiled while hearing about the things from McClary about his pronunciation and everything. So now the phone rang again. Now there was a call from the magistrate's court. So Governor received a call. So now magistrate court, he said, they needed a prison van and a couple of prison officers remand case. And within 2 minutes, the governor was wondering whether that could be a hoax. He told himself not to be so silly. His imagination was beginning to run right. So there was a call from magistrate court, and there was something that they need a prison van and a couple of prison officers. So as soon, and after 2 minutes, he realized, he thought it might be this is also a hoax, because he was keeping an eye on Evans, like we can say hawk here only, as discussed earlier. Evans, for the first quarter of an hour, Stephens, so first 45 minutes, Stephens had beautifully peeped through the peephole at intervals of 1 or so minutes. So first 45 minutes, as Stephens was out now, earlier he was inside the cell. Every minute or two, he was peeping inside from that hole. Remember, Indian prisons, jails and the outside are totally different. In our Indian country, we are having the bars. But outside we are having the doors. You have seen in the English movies also, where there is the eye hole and the doors are there. So every minute or two he was looking and everything was going smooth. So at 10:45 am everything was alright. Now he delaying the things while looking inside. So now at 10:50 am there was a sound. So governor heard a sound. So at 10:50 am the receiver crackled to life, and the governor realized he almost forgotten Evans for a few minutes. So he heard Evans said, please sir, would you mind if I put a blanket round me shoulder, sir? It's a bit parky in here, isn't it? So he said, I want to have the blanket. He was feeling uncomfortable here. So this conversation was made at 10:50. So this was heard by governor. At 10:51 am, Stephens once again looked inside, and he was surprised to see that how Evans was sitting. In between, he noticed that Evans was having his pen and his lips, and he was just looking at the McClary. The same thing was going on. Instead of writing, he was just looking there, as it's written. But Evans, the pen still between his teeth, was staring just as vacantly as before, blankly beneath a blanket. Should Stephens report the slight irregularity? Anything at all fishy, hadn't Jackson said. So he said, Stephens, what might be this is something fishy or irregularity, I should tell to Stephens or not? Was he planning? So these thoughts were in the mind of Stephens. Was he planning a sudden Batman leap to suffocate McClary in the blanket? Might be his thinking to suffocate the McClary with that blanket. So he was not able to understand what to do. He was minutely observing. So at 11:20 am, governor realized that he hadn't gave importance to Evans again. So he heard now the McClary invigilator said 5 minutes left, because he earlier only mentioned that he would say that whenever the 5 minutes would be left, he will give the instruction. 11:22, governor made a call to Jackson, said that he needs to talk to Stephens, and he gave the instruction to Stephens to accompany the invigilator McClary to the main gate when the exam will be over. And at 11:25, there was another thing which was heard by governor. McClary said, exam over, it's already 11:25. So there was a final exchange. Stop writing, put your sheets in order and see they are correctly numbered. Scrapping of chairs and tables, so he stood up from there. Thank you so much, sir. All right. Good, Mr. Stephens. The governor heard the door clang for the last time the examination was over. So governor heard the last sound that the door was closed, and there the exam got finished. So till now we are discussing it. So you need to remember all the timings and all that, when the exam started, what numbers were there and what correction was there, because these things would matter a lot at the end also. Thank you, and the rest I will do it in the next class.